In honor of the National Day of Prayer, we begin Vegan Freak Radio number 69 with a prayer.
You will not prevent this message from going out. No microphone problems in Jesus' name. In the name of Jesus, we speak that. Ora mana shanda karaba. Lo koremene bere jede kede burishida kilibera sala.
And now, your hosts who proudly say fuck you to the FCC, Bob and Jenna.
Hey freaks, how you doing? This is Bob.
And Jenna.
And we're back for another week of Vegan Freak Radio. Jenna, you sound more normal now than I've heard you sound all week.
I know, I don't know what's up with that.
It's good, you've got your voice back for your freaks.
I do. Yeah, I have a touch of the laryngitis. Apparently I haven't been praying enough this week. That's why my voice is shot. So
I believe that, actually. It's the demons. It's the podcasting demons coming.
It's preventing my message from going out.
It's preventing them. You need to speak in some more tongues, Jenna.
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah. Anyway, today I sound a whole lot better than I did yesterday, that's for sure.
Absolutely. A couple days ago, I could barely even hear you.
Yeah,
so you may end up hearing a lot of me on the show today, but it's okay. You know, it's the way it is. You gotta let Jenna's voice rest. We don't want her to... Tomorrow's the last day of classes for her, so we don't want her to be out of her voice when she goes for her last day of classes.
Yeah, well, but the freaks are more important.
There you go.
I will use my voice for the freaks.
You use your voice for the freaks. Well, that's the funny thing is earlier in the week, Jenna's like, I gotta get my voice back. We have to do the show. So you all better appreciate that. And I gotta tell you, she's not that... She's a very dedicated person to the things that she cares about, but the things she doesn't care about, you know.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. So she's very dedicated to you, and I know that, you know, it's good. Anyway, let's get started here. We have an interesting audio collage from last week's show that one of our listeners put together for us. This listener has a site called NoRelPref, NoRelPref.com. I'll put it in the show notes. And the listener has recently gone vegan, which is very good. We applaud that, of course. And the site itself is so cool because you go there and there are just these, like, I don't know, hundreds, I want to say. I don't know if there are quite hundreds, but there are a lot of audio collages, and they're excellent and funny and weird. And this listener sent us a bunch, and we'll play them over the next couple of weeks, and we'll play one later on today in the show. But this one is directly related to last week, and I thought it was kind of interesting and funny. So here, it's called Feast on Fashion.
Dear God, I am not allowed in schools. I get started. Okay. Personalities would be warped. Let's let our daughters have abortions. That's a grand idea. They want. Condoms, they want. Condoms, that's another great idea. Good. And someone else took that appreciation a step further and published pictures of the president nude, and then stepped further by making them available on the internet. And illicit sex available on the internet. Rape, drugs, murder, suicide, and satanic themes available on the internet. It's just entertainment. Go right ahead. Kill strangers.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and sort of disagree with you there.
Yeah, well, this came out of we got they said that it's and then you know like I don't know like you know what I mean you know I'm like no she no you know what I mean like if do you know what I mean like yeah you know what I mean you know what I mean like draw the, you know like that like of like people like sick and like and get like you know like and like you've got it wrong like you know you got it wrong so I was like oh we got this wrong and so it's funny like you know like and like they'll be like do you know what I mean and like and then like and so you know and I you know like they're they well yeah well as I like
kind of
yeah.
Trish Kelly is of Animal Flesh, a Terrian who experimented with her short story called Losing My Short Story.
consumption. As I've aged, it's become harder to hold on to my virtue. I drink now. I wanted to take wine home with me.
The ethical way she chose to indulge was to feast on fashion.
Excellent.
That's great how it really picks up on how Ira was stuttering there and during his talk.
But I like the last bit too, where it's like the way that she chose was to feast on fashion, which is exactly what it is.
Yep.
It's to feast on fashion. We have more of these. We will play them over the next several shows as we feel like and have time. So
cool.
Yeah. So I don't know. I was thinking of our audience the other day because I wrote to a friend of mine with the initials GLF, and I said to him, "Man, have you read this book called Drawing the Line by Stephen Wise?" And he said to me, "Why would you be reading that? You know, or maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but anyway, should I not?
I don't care."
Well, anyway, so he said, "Why would you be reading that?" So I had to explain to him why I read it, and I thought I would explain this to our listeners as well. I have some books that were given to me, and in general, what happens with these books is that they don't interest me immediately. And I kind of put them on the shelf. And if I don't read them for a while, what I'll do is, and if I want to kind of see what's going on with the books, I'll take them and put them in the John. I'll put them in the bathroom. So while I'm in the bathroom, I get a chance to page through them. And I'm not usually full of rage when I'm on the toilet, but this book made me full of rage, full of and it's just an aspect of being vegan. You spend a lot of time on the 3 times a day thing, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I did read a lot of this book, not all of it on the John, but I read some of it on the John. I think this book is kind of problematic in a lot of ways, and the reason I think that is because this guy is a lawyer and he's writing the book, and what he wants to do is establish this kind of metric, right? A probability from 0 to 1, and within that probability, he wants to assign animals that are more likely to have consciousness of themselves, a number greater to 1, closer to 1, and animals that probably don't have that awareness less than 1. So you end up with dogs with something like a 0.6 and apes with something like a 0.98, right? Now, what is the problem with this idea? The problem with this idea clearly is that it values self-consciousness. It values what we think of as, in fact, the most important aspects of what constitutes quote-unquote intelligence in an animal, and it takes those aspects and reifies them into a framework to understand and argue for animal rights. I think that's a really problematic approach.
Of course, because it's saying, well, some animals are more equal than others, like we've talked about before on the show.
Exactly.
That they deserve, chimpanzees deserve more, attention because they're more like us. But all animals deserve attention because they're sentient. That should be the only thing that matters.
I completely agree with you there. So I found that whole argument in that book to be really frustrating. And then part of the book at the end makes this argument that we can't ask for too many rights for animals because then we'll end up with none. So that we need to use these kinds of metrics to ask for gradual rights for certain kinds of animals, because if we do it that way, we're going to begin to open up the notion that animals have these kinds of autonomy preferences or whatever you want to call them. And then by opening that up, we'll be able to then open up the space even further once we've opened it a little bit for apes, for example. Then we'll be able to open it a little more later for dogs who have an, 0.68 on this artificial scale that he creates.
It's fucking ridiculous. That's saying okay, well, Latinos will give you more rights because your skin is a little bit closer in color to ours.
Well, interestingly enough, he uses the case of Abraham Lincoln arguing in a presidential debate that he wanted to give some rights to slaves, but not to make them equal with whites. And he says we need to use the same kind of logic to argue for animals. I am dead serious. Do you understand why I was full of rage now?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I understand this book is well respected within the movement, and I cannot understand why, because it's a mess. The argument is a total mess. It's a speciesist mess. It takes the thing about our species that we consider to make us to be important, and it uses that as a metric for deciding what other animals are important. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I just wanted to warn people in case you want to read that book. If you do, go ahead. Have a blast, but it will fill you with rage because it's idiotic. Anyway, moving on here. We, Umba Pants on our forums today, posted this clip to a TV segment from a Fox TV station in Atlanta, and I thought we would play it today because it's kind of interesting. And I left in the commercial at the beginning because it's ironic, if nothing else. So let's play. We're going to play this and then we'll talk about it.
Start your mornings with McDonald's new Southern-style chicken biscuit, a juicy and deliciously tender chicken breast served on a warm biscuit. And once you're up, visit morningimpaired.com. I'm loving it.
Visit ethicallyimpaired.com.
The vegan lifestyle is restrictive. You can't eat animals or animal products. And some people even shun things like honey and yeast.
Yeast?
Yeast?
Are
No.
there vegans that don't
Jesus
eat
Christ,
yeast?
No.
I don't eat potatoes because they have eyes.
But one doctor says you can go meat-free safely. It just takes some work. It's a lifestyle thousands of Georgians swear by. They won't eat animals and they won't eat any product that comes from animals. But how safe is a strict vegan diet, especially for infants and children?
It'll kill you.
Dr. Teresa Rohr-Kirchgraber is an internist at Emory Hospital.
I think it's difficult for parents. It can be done, but it has to be done with a lot of care.
The vegan lifestyle was pulled into the spotlight this week in the trial of an Atlanta couple convicted of murder when their 6-week-old son starved to death after being fed nothing but soy milk and apple juice. Dr. Kirchgraber says the case is extreme and unfortunate because neither the vegan nor the vegetarian lifestyle encourages parents to restrict a baby's diet like this.
Where would anyone ever get that idea? Because two people neglect a child, it's suddenly every single vegan in the planet?
Of course.
If they had proper instruction with their pediatrician, if they had followed what would be the standards of care, this wouldn't have happened.
Studies show when done right, a pure vegetarian diet is just as healthy as traditional meat-based diets. And going vegetarian may offer even more benefits, like protecting you from heart disease and certain cancers.
No shit.
So how do you do it right? Dr. Kirchgraber says it takes work, and you have to make good nutritional choices.
I would have them work with a nutritionist as well as their pediatrician. You need to have a lot of information from all different directions.
So is it okay for parents to feed their children a strict vegan diet? Dr. Kirchgraber says yes.
As long as they are giving that child a balanced diet, there should be nothing wrong with it.
The bottom line is you can eat a healthful vegetarian diet, but you just have to put some extra time and some planning in it to make sure that you're getting a balance of nutrients that you need in your diet, especially if you're parents and you're dealing with growing children. You know, they need the nutrients as their bodies are growing.
Yeah, and it would seem that a baby would have even more demands for nutrition than a child or an adult.
Yeah, so Dr. Kirchgraber says basically you really need to work with your pediatrician. Talk to your pediatrician about your lifestyle, get some tips, go online, get some information before just trying to wing it and do it yourself as a parent.
A lot of people argue being vegan is a choice, and this poor child didn't have that option. No. Yeah. All right, Beth, thanks.
A lot of people argue that being vegan is a choice, and this poor child didn't have that option. Okay.
Okay, no 6-month-old, or what was it, 6 month or 6 week?
I don't know.
Anyway, no baby has a choice as to what the hell it eats.
Exactly. That's what the parents should be deciding. Now, do I think these parents were in the right to feed this child soy milk and apple juice and let it die? No, of course not. That's fucking ridiculous. Who would be behind that?
Nobody.
Exactly. So, that last little bit at the end, though, is like, did the woman who said that, it should be a choice, whatever, did she listen to the whole rest of the report?
I know. They actually found a doctor who said it's fine.
Yeah, but they were like, it has to be on.
I know. Oh, it's a lot of work. I'm like, no, don't feed your family the same goddamn thing every day.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and it should. People should be putting some work into their diet to look at what they're eating.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're an omnivore or a vegan. You should think about what you eat.
Absolutely. I mean, you should think about what you're feeding your child, even if you're an omnivore.
Yeah.
You have to be. I think you should be careful. I mean, look at the whole childhood diabetes and obesity epidemic. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. So, yeah. I don't know.
But remember, whenever we go to hotels, we end up watching the Discovery Channel because that's just like probably the best thing on usually. Anyway, we're flipping through one time and there was a show on. It was one of these medical shows where they have stories of people in the ER or whatever. And these parents brought in their child, and I think it was like 3, and the child couldn't walk.
Right.
And the doctor couldn't figure out why. He was perfectly healthy, otherwise structurally. And they figured out it was because he was eating only oatmeal. And nothing else. And he had, what was it, scurvy, I think it was.
Oh, they let him eat only oatmeal.
Yeah, they only let him eat oatmeal because they said, oh, that's the only thing he eats.
And they let him.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And then they were surprised when he had a nutritional deficiency and he was
Yeah.
actually deficient in vitamins, and that's why he couldn't walk. And, of course, they feed him normal food and then he could walk again. So, but these parents, of course, weren't vegan or anything. They just happened to feed the kid oatmeal because that's all he would eat.
Yeah.
And so, but... in that story, there's never this sense of, oh, these are horrendous parents.
Because they're vegan.
Because they're vegan.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, they just didn't have the nutritional information. You know, it's like, it never occurred to them. But they didn't make these parents look horrible. Whereas, you know, whenever it's a vegan doing this, it's like, it's child abuse, apparently.
I don't know. If there's a kid that only eat oatmeal, I mean, is that not Darwin just screaming out like...
Oh, man.
I'm kidding. Before I get the angry emails, I'm kidding. No, I mean, it should have been the job of the parents to make sure that child ate something so that, you know, didn't get scurvy.
Yeah, so.
I don't know. I always find those segments annoying because they sort of leverage this fear that everyone has of veganism, that it's somehow nutritionally deficient.
Mm-hmm.
But interestingly enough, you can be completely nutritionally deficient eating steak all the time. I mean, you can fail to get most of the essential nutrients you need eating steak and chicken.
Yeah, actually, that's something else that I've learned from watching TLC and the Discovery Channel in hotels is that, you know, when they have these people who are like feed their family nothing but boxed food, and they actually have nutritional deficiencies because all they're eating is sugar and like white flour and
grease,
meat,
yeah,
and fat,
and fat,
and they're like low on iron and stuff because they're not getting any nutrients that they're supposed to be getting.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know. I know that the way that these news shows function is by leveraging fear. You know, it's like, oh my God, fear of killer bees, fear of vegan diets, fear of, you know. Go ahead.
Exactly. And look at these wacko vegans, you know. Well, it can be done, but it's so hard.
Yeah, I know. Ridiculous. So, moving on. I forgot to write down who sent us this article. I apologize. I'll make it up to you, whomever you are, by announcing your name on the next show because I forgot to write it down. But this is an article from Wolfgang Puck. Wolfgang Puck says, I want animals to be happy. Now, in case you don't know who Wolfgang Puck is, he is a chef. And he's not a vegan or vegetarian chef. He's just a chef. So I'll read to you this article. It's short, and I think it's worth reading. And Wolfgang says, that veal calf may end up as Wiener Schnitzel, but one of our greatest chefs wants it to have a happy life first. What?
Why window making random noises at you again?
It's telling me that there's an update to my virus software. Anyway, May 7th, 2007. This is from MSNBC or Newsweek. I've been thinking a lot lately about how it's up to chefs like me to help everyone stay healthy. It's not just about reducing obesity and diabetes, though that's obviously a priority. It's about getting every one of us to eat the right foods. That means buying produce from responsible farmers who grow fruits and vegetables that aren't covered with pesticides or genetically modified. It means getting meat from ranchers who not only shun the use of antibiotics and growth hormones, but also raise their animals humanely in a free-roaming environment. I'm not going soft, or heaven forbid, vegan.
Heaven forbid.
Heaven forbid. I'm just trying to be more accountable to myself, my customers, and to those who are farming responsibly. And if it means being nicer to animals along the way, well, that's a big bonus. Why shouldn't cows and pigs feel sunlight on their backs and grass under their feet? Fish shouldn't be jammed into tanks too full for them to even think about swimming. They should be able to exercise their muscles and feel a current. Yes, they'll be killed for food, but until then, they should have a nice stay on Earth. I'll wait until the end. You might say this is ridiculous, but why does it matter how an animal is reared since you know from the start that it's going to be slaughtered? But I've had a change of heart. I want to be more outspoken about the treatment of animals. I care that a veal calf, yes, even one that's destined to become Wiener Schnitzel at one of my Spago restaurants, doesn't live out its days in a crate that's too small for him to stand. As for foie gras, my customers and I can easily live without it. Why did I adopt this new culinary philosophy? I'd been thinking about it for some time when the Humane Society of the United States, a Washington, D.C.-based animal welfare organization, approached me last year about changing my menu to use ingredients exclusively from humane farmers. And I thought the time was right to make the switch, to lead by example. You might say I've been living this way all my life, from the time I was a young boy in Unterbergen, Austria. We never stocked cans in our pantry. Instead, we ate summer fruit in the summer and winter vegetables when the weather turned cold, just as nature intended. Our chickens were raised to run around the property and were fed a wholesome diet. Our cows didn't know a thing about bovine growth hormones, and the food tasted better. This year, Spago turns 25. I am proud of how my 90-seat restaurant in LA evolved into a vast food company serving more than 10 million customers each year. But it's not the past quarter century that's on my mind. It's how I will manage my company for the next 25 years that's consuming me. I wish it would be consumed. So here's what I promised to do for a second act. In all my restaurants, catering business, licensed foods, and takeout establishments, I'm committed to using organic ingredients and humanely raised meats and fish. By the end of the year, all the chicken I buy, even for my Wolfgang Puck frozen pizzas, will have been raised cage-free. The veal on my Spago menu is now free range. Wait, is that even possible? To make certain things stay above board, I've hired someone who will police my purveyors. I want to ensure that everything labeled organic really is, and that no veal calf that finds its way into my kitchen lived its life chained inside a box. And it won't stop with the food. Our society is too reliant on disposable packaging that sits for an eternity in a landfill. I drive through the streets of Beverly Hills and can't help but notice that this city has the largest garbage cans I've ever seen. It's not that bad people live in Beverly Hills, it's just that the more affluent a society we are, the more we tend to throw away. By the end of the year, I'll replace all of my plastic to-go bags with recycled paper, and I'll use more environmentally friendly containers. I'm hoping other chefs will follow suit. If I can get my foods from responsible ranchers and farmers and feed millions of people each year and not raise prices, then chefs who cook for smaller audiences can do this too, and one by one we'll all benefit. The way I see it, our future will be filled with more chefs and fewer doctors.
Yeah, we'll all benefit, except the animals.
Well, yeah, I mean...
because they're still dying.
They are indeed. And this whole notion that we can reform a system that at its roots commodifies animals is absurd. It cannot happen. It is like trying to ask a human being not to breathe. The system itself relies upon this as its lifeblood. Mm-hmm. So we might make the exploitation somewhat nicer, but the system itself is what needs to be attacked, right? And by kind of making the system a little prettier, a little cuter, it doesn't change the basic fact that we're exploiting animals.
Of course.
Actually, I'm reminded of a quote. I was doing some research for my book and reading and writing for my book this week, and it kind of, some of the stuff reminds me of the way in which we talk about capitalism as well, right? And there's this quote from Mary Bookchin where he says, "Capitalism not only validates pre-capitalist notions of the domination of nature by man, it turns the plunder of nature into society's law of life. To quibble with this kind of system about its values, to try to frighten it with visions about the consequences of growth, is to quarrel with its very metabolism. One might more easily persuade a green plant to desist from photosynthesis than to ask the bourgeois economy to desist from capital accumulation. There is no one to talk to. Accumulation is determined not by the good or bad intentions of the individual bourgeois, but by the commodity relationship itself, by what Marx so aptly called the cellular unit of the bourgeois economy." Now, animal exploitation, using animals as commodities, is the cellular unit of the system of animal exploitation. To ask that system to stop doing that, you can't. You have to attack the system itself, right? So, the argument that we can just change these practices and make the system better and that eventually it'll go away is completely fucking wrong.
Yep.
The system itself cannot be reformed. So we cannot reform animal agriculture in this way. I think it depends upon exploitation and the commodification of animals. It is its lifeblood in every literal way. So instead, the only way to do this is to fight against the entire system in its entirety. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's clear. Wolfgang Puck says, oh, yeah, well, I'm doing this great thing because it's so much better for everybody. And it's better for his wallet.
Of course.
As well. He gets to make money. Like, look, I'm selling you this stuff that probably tastes better.
Yeah.
And he even says it tastes better. And that, I can make a great profit off of. And
that's right.
And look, it's happy.
And, here's the other thing, is he gets a full-page, essentially what is a free full-page advertisement in Newsweek to sprout this shit.
Of course.
For his business.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yep.
So he actually thinks that he's doing good by doing this. And, I just think the whole thing is absurd.
Yeah, and thanks HSUS for helping him to do that.
Exactly.
Let's make more money off of killing animals.
And that's it. They are directly complicit in the death of animals when they help someone like him do this. The kind of money and resources they have, they should be applied to fighting the system itself, not to facilitating the consumption of animals by helping out a fuckface like Wolfgang Puck.
I agree.
There, I said it.
Yes.
A fuckface like Wolfgang Puck.
Yes, who loves to eat baby cows.
Indeed he does. So, what I say to Wolfgang Puck? I don't know what to say to Wolfgang Puck.
How about a not vegan?
Oh, okay. We got new ones.
Oh, yeah, we haven't played our new ones.
Okay, I invited people on our forum to submit not vegans to us, and we thought we could kind of change up the not vegans from our normal. Not vegan. It sounds kind of weak. I like a little more manly. Not vegan.
That's better.
That has a gendered implication to it. I apologize. anyway, and 3 people did in fact submit Not Vegans to us. So we've got 3 of them. Let's just play them right now real quick. This one's from Kat.
Not vegan.
The vocalist on our theme song. This is from Rat, the instrumentalist on our theme song.
Not vegan.
It's like
it's the Cookie Monster metal version.
Exactly. And this one's from Mickey.
Oh my God, that is totally not vegan.
I love that. I love them all. They're great.
Oh my God, that is totally not vegan.
Yes. So.
Not vegan.
And Wolfgang Puck is.
Not vegan.
Anyway, enough about Wolfgang. What else do we have here? Let's play a song.
Okay.
This song was submitted to us from the same person who did the Feast on Fashion collage, and I thought this is kind of a interesting, strange mix of negative. It sounded kind of like Negative Land or something. I don't know. It's interesting. Just check it out. It's called Meat and Potatoes.
What we're hearing doesn't make any sense. It's crazy. What we're hearing doesn't make any sense. It's crazy.
How to win friends and influence homicidal maniacs.
It makes you feel so alive.
No!
Oh, exciting!
How to win friends and influence homicidal maniacs.
It makes you feel so alive.
No!
Oh, exciting! You lost your mind completely.
Will you stop talking like that and tell me what's wrong with this place?
I could a tale unfold whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul. Freeze thy young blood, make thy 2 eyes like stars start from their spheres, thy knotted and combined locks to part, and each particular hair to stand on end, like quills upon the fretful porcupine.
Why don't you play something hard? Let's dance.
Yes, I'll do.
Why don't you play something hard? Let's dance.
Yes, I'll do.
Why don't you play something hard? Let's dance.
Yes, I'll do.
Why don't you play something hard? Let's dance.
The human skull. Oh, no.
Yes, I'll do.
Break it down one time.
Do it. Wow.
That's why I'm letting him go.
Why did you do that? What did you let the bird go for?
Once I was hunted, and somebody gave me my freedom. You couldn't possibly understand that. What it's like to be hunted, or what it's like to be free again. But I can. That's why I let the bird go. For the first time in over a year, I've come back home again to someone who was very close to me.
All right, that's called Meat and Potatoes from, I guess, norelpref.com, NORELPREF.com. Lots of weird mashups like that over there, and audio collages and interesting things. Jenna, you all right?
Yep, I'm fine.
Good. So here's a story. We thought, with Jenna's voice being what it is, that we would just use today to catch up on some voicemails.
Yeah, we got lots of them.
In fact,
we couldn't even play all of them that we got.
Yeah.
Still.
So we've got a bunch. So what we thought we would do was just kind of go through and play a whole shitload of voicemails and respond to them.
All right.
So what should we want to play the voicemail song?
Oh, yeah.
Time once again for some vegan freak voicemail. Maybe we'll hear from a hot chick.
Or a choice male.
Callers make us happy and help us keep our sanity, even if all they wanna do is fucking complain about the shitload of profanity.
Okay, and our first voicemail here is from Elizabeth.
Hey, Bob and Jenna, this is Elizabeth. I'm wood note on the forums, and I am calling from Brussels, Belgium, where I am still studying abroad. I have called the show before. And I'm just calling with kind of a quick little story about something that I really had a revelation about the other night. I was sitting in our kitchen talking with my American roommate, who's here on the same study abroad program that I am. And we were kind of having a discussion about, a lot of more, I guess, philosophical things, that kind of thing. And we kind of got on the subject of feminism and, how we've experienced, I guess, oppression as women differently since we've been here in Belgium. And there's kind of a strange phenomenon in Brussels, at least, that it's almost socially acceptable for women to be harassed by men in public. Anytime we go out at night with, friends or just to go to the bar or whatever, it's pretty much expected that you will either be, shouted at or leered at or even, at some points grabbed by complete strangers on the street. And, really nothing is said about it. You can't really do anything about it. And
you can kick people in the nuts.
In situations, people won't even, other people who aren't involved don't even really look twice at it. And it's a phenomenon that I've never experienced before, being from the U.S. And, people have made comments before, whatever, but it's never been such a huge thing as it is here, and so just really across the board. And it's a really bizarre feeling, and I promise this does relate to veganism. But no, we were talking about it and discussing how different that is from our lives. And my roommate said something about how we, just by being women and by existing and walking down the street and just being completely entities, unto ourselves, we are somehow deemed worthy of being oppressed or being harassed. And it really dawned on me all of a sudden that this is the same attitude that most people have towards animals, that just because that animal exists, just because it is there living and you can see it and it's part of your world, you are somehow therefore allowed to exploit it, to oppress it, to treat it differently and completely without any respect. And so it's not really maybe anything new or anything really profound, but it really just hit me that, there's a lot of discussion about how meat eating relates to feminism and that kind of thing, and I don't claim to be knowledgeable about that kind of field at all. But, all of a sudden it really just dawned on me that it's almost the same concept. So, I just wanted to say that because I, was thinking about it and kind of had this epiphany that made it a lot more meaningful to me, even if it's something that is pretty old hat. So, thanks you guys. Sorry about the mix-up with the possible 2 messages. And, I really appreciate everything you guys are doing. Love hearing the podcast. And, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Excellent points, Elizabeth.
Indeed.
And it's always very powerful when you can... you can understand a theory abstractly, right? But when you're able to use your own life experience to help you understand kind of how that works, it's always that much more powerful. And you're absolutely right. The whole process of creating another and othering in general does this, right? It distances us from kind of the object of our otherness in a sense, and creates these artificial categories that are really based upon nothing that should be used to create these kinds of differences and distinctions.
Right, it's because people can dominate, and they do. They will.
Exactly. I think the other thing is also that these are personal assumptions that a lot of people have, that women are less than men, that, the racist has the assumption that someone who is a person of color is less than a white person. But also I think it's compelling, and this is where I think sociology is a useful discipline. I think it helps, understanding sociology helps us to understand how these things are not only individualized individualized kind of actions, but how they're also built into the structures of our society. I mean, racism is built into the very structure of American society, and it's built into the structure of many other societies. And sexism is built into the structure of American society, and the assumptions about what constitutes a family is built into the U.S. society. I mean, look at what the idea of a family. We have this idea of a June and Ward Cleaver nuclear family. One man, one woman, and they're going to have babies. This is the assumption of what a family is. It doesn't leave room, or it doesn't brook the notion of a man and a man having a child, or a woman and a woman having a child, or a man and a man living together peacefully and happily. And what I'm trying to get at here is that these things are institutionalized into the culture as well. So they're not only these individualized perspectives on what accounts for othering and difference, but they're also like legal things that get in the way and keep solidifying and reinforcing these notions that we have of prejudice.
Wow. Yeah. Not much to add to that. Yeah, because it's so true. And we can fight it at the individual level, but if you really want to make a difference, is we have to attack it at the societal level. We have to attack it systemically. It's exactly the case. That's why even if all of us out there tomorrow stopped being individually racist, right? Racism would still continue in society. Even if we stop being individually sexist, sexism would still continue in society. The thing we have to do is change society itself. Similarly with animals. We could all go vegan. Well, if we wouldn't all go vegan tomorrow, right? But even if we all went vegan tomorrow, there would be a period during which we would have to pry all of this animal exploitation out of our social structures. I mean, our government puts the imprimatur on all of this. So what I'm trying to get at is that all of these different kinds of forms of oppression operate in very similar ways. And this is kind of what Elizabeth's point is, but I also want to say that they operate beyond the mere individual level and at the level of societal structures and institutional rules and ideas. So there you go. That's Sociology 101. Cool. This is from Allie.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. It's Allie. I'm calling because I'm nowhere near a computer, so voicemail is my only option here. I'm calling to comment on 2 voicemails that you played on the latest podcast. To the girl who first saw an animal transport vehicle, I see this type of thing all the time, at least once a week. And I work with right-wing hunters, racists, homophobes. Well, this is very disheartening and upsetting to me. I noticed that this is what we're up against, and I hope that seeing this vehicle and dealing with these people will help strengthen your resolve being a vegan and having to deal with this thing on a regular basis. And to the guy who wants to fight Peter Singer, I would definitely pay to see that, and I would go so far as to mud wrestle Ingrid Newkirk and any other lame woman in the movement. So it's a great idea. Go for it. I am so there. Thanks, guys. Love you. Bye.
Thanks, Allie. That's really picking up steam, this whole idea.
I know. But see, the thing is it's probably something that PETA would be interested in because, it goes along with all the things that, 2 women mud wrestling, that's totally up their alley.
Oh, true.
I mean, it's just like, oh, yeah, we can exploit women and, give it a little titty show. And then we'll say, oh, yeah, and by the way, don't exploit animals afterwards. Yeah. And, of course, nobody will pay attention to that because they're too busy watching.
Yeah, but then we could use it. We could use it from, well, then we end up doing exactly what they're doing. Yeah. Okay. Well, in any case, right, well. It'd be fun to watch people get beaten up. I'm kidding.
We here at Vegan Freak Radio do not endorse any violence of any kind towards any welfarist or anyone else.
This is true. It's a joke.
Yes, of course.
The animal transport stuff, though, that is disgusting. And Allie, I'm really sorry you work with a bunch of fuckheads. I mean, what? Time to change jobs, man. I mean,
Well, it's hard. They're everywhere.
Fuckheads or jobs?
Fuckheads.
Yeah, I know. Jobs aren't everywhere, but fuckheads indeed are. Oh, man. Okay, this one's from Francesca.
Hi, this is Francesca from New York City. I'm Blondie FK on the forum. I was just calling with a comment about last week's podcast about the bee die-off and about, the science fiction-y kind of theories that have been, are being considered. And on the Animal Voices podcast, they have a news story from England about that the bee die-off is spreading there, too, although the officials are saying it hasn't. But you know how much that means. And they have, they're saying that they think the cell phones actually are to blame for it, because apparently if you put a cell phone next to a beehive, the bees won't return to that hive. And also power lines apparently affect the way bees act. So science fiction-y as it may sound, it actually seems like it might have some validity, although it's still just a possibility. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for such a great podcast. I listen to it all the time right now because I'm doing the archived ones and the really old ones from iTunes, like from the beginning. I'm up to about podcast 20. I just listened to 19 today, so I'm up to 20. And I really enjoy it. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Well, glad you enjoyed the old ones, and they're a little embarrassing
Yeah.
for us. We've evolved.
We
We've
have.
changed. Our views, our ideas about things have changed over time.
And of course, the quality is improved as well.
The quality has
hope.
definitely improved. The first show is just embarrassing. Just so embarrassing. Anyway, yeah, the cell phone and bees thing. That we would not, of course, want to admit that were the case if it is. But
But yeah. But I mean, power lines, I think, can really mess with humans too, can't they? I mean,
they're
some of them,
theoretically.
the really high-powered ones.
Theoretically, those big transmission lines,
Yeah.
like the huge ones that go across the country, are the ones that are supposed to mess with people. But I don't really know.
Who knows? It's so hard to study that kind of thing because it could be one of any millions of things, you know?
Yep. Well, when we were driving through the Adirondacks recently, we saw this woman walking with her child underneath, like where these big power lines are. They cut out all the grass underneath them, so you can kind of walk under them.
Mhm.
Not that you would want to, but you can. And I saw this woman walking with her child underneath these power lines, and I was like, I wouldn't want to, I wouldn't, if I had kids, take them underneath the power lines. It's like,
we've ridden our bike underneath them before, and they make this really horrible buzzing noise.
yeah, you can hear them.
You're just like, okay, that doesn't sound good. So,
It's a little scary. So, but yeah, certainly I wouldn't be surprised if it were involved in some way or another. Okay, moving on with the voicemail show. Here's James.
Bob and Jenna, this is James. I was just having a bitchin' day, partly in thanks to you guys. Just finished reading your book, and had just got my Vegan Freak shirt, and I was rocking it to the store and to this new vegetarian restaurant in Highland Park called Cinnamon. Highland Park's in L.A. So if you guys play this on the podcast, any of the vegans out there, hit up Cinnamon on Figueroa in Highland Park. Anyway, I was there with the shirt. The lady dug the shirt. She kicked me down a free cinnamon tea and some potato flautas.
Nice.
And then I was at the grocery store, and somebody saw the shirt and let me know about some vegan potlucks going on in town. So sweet, man, the shirt's working for me. So anyway, in the podcast and everything else you guys are doing. Thanks. Peace.
Thanks, James. Glad it's working out for you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We're working on it. Got to create those vegan connections.
Yeah.
So cool. Here's Jamie.
Hello, freaks. My name is Jamie. I'm a regular listener of your show. It really gets me through living with two people who call themselves vegetarian, one who eats turkey because she quote-unquote hates turkeys, and the other one who enjoys free-range eggs and eats meat if it's free. Got, vegetarian. So sometimes I need to take your podcast out on the porch and listen to it to calm myself down after I see a pile of free meat in the refrigerator. But I was calling to say that hope is not lost, because the very same roommate that is eating the free-range dairy and eggs, the other day on our campus, there was Ben & Jerry's, and they were giving out flyers dressed in cow costumes for their free cone day. and she spontaneously yelled at one of them, "Where do all the babies go?" And later explained that she was referring to baby calves that were sold for veal. And I thought that was really interesting because neither her or myself knew exactly where it came from, but we've been talking about veganism for quite some time. She is now considering cutting out dairy from her diet completely, I think, thanks to our conversations and listening to your podcast. Anyways, just thought that was kind of a funny story. Thanks for producing your podcast. It helps me a lot. Bye.
Well, I'm glad we can help you out, Jamie, and you got to get your roommates to go vegan.
Yeah, man. The whole thing, I don't understand what people justify eating meat because they don't like, okay, I hate turkeys, so I'm going to eat them.
I know.
It's like I hate George Bush, but that doesn't mean I want to eat them, cook them up and eat them. I mean, it's like...
In a few moments, you can come up and pet the turkey if you want to.
You can pet his turkey, Jenna.
It's just the most ridiculous argument. But anyway, yeah, so what's good is that I think vegans don't, think like they're going to... Some vegans think that they're going to explain things and that people are automatically going to go bing and, turn vegan.
Right.
But I think sometimes it does take a really long time and it'll just sort of percolate in there. And in one day, like you just experience, something might trigger and something might click and it works.
I think it can happen very readily that's the case. That, you think about it for a while and that you think, well, I'm not going to do it. It's a pain in the ass, whatever. And then one day you say to yourself, all right, fuck it, I've had enough. I'm not going to be a bullshitter anymore. I'm going to do it. So maybe we can get your roommates there. You should. I don't know. For some people, that show we did about how vegetarian. We didn't do a whole show. We did a segment about why vegetarianism for animal rights reasons was problematic. Mm-hmm. Some people thought that was great. Other people wrote and told us we had our heads firmly planted in our buttocks. But whatever. Sometimes that kind of thing works for people because it lays out the argument for them. Like, if you care about animals, you can't care about them and simultaneously do things that put them in the position of dying for your ones.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, glad we can be part of keeping you sane with your excusitarian roommates. All right, here's Peggy.
Hi, this is Peggy. Fireworks on the Forums from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and I just want to call to say thank you.
All right, well, we need all the Alberta people to get together and have a Vegan Freak meetup.
We do, because we've been getting a lot of voicemails from people in Alberta.
But a lot of the people in Alberta are like, I live in Alberta, and I don't know anybody else in Alberta. So it's like, come on, people in Alberta, get together.
Yeah, the problem is Alberta's, a big province, so they all gotta meet somewhere.
Well, New York's a big state, and I've met other vegans.
But I'm just saying.
Actually, Alberta is way bigger than New York, but still, I'm just saying. I know it's big, but it isn't something like 80% of the population of Canada right on the border with the United States. So, yes. I mean, the odds are good that everyone's going to be a few hours apart.
True.
Alberta people, you need to organize and get together and have a vegan meetup.
I agree.
You need some networking and friendship up there in Alberta.
Yeah.
So here we go. Sorry. I don't mean to lecture you.
So much for your podcast and stuff, because it's really helped me, because I know it was really tough at first being a vegan. Because, I live in Alberta, where everyone's like, oh, yeah, Alberta beef. And, there's a new dairy farm opening right now, just outside the city. And I'm like, I just turned 15 2 weeks ago. So, I don't know, being a teen vegan is tough. And, yeah, and my family was really against it at first. But thanks to your podcast, I've stayed strong, and it's really helped. Now, my family's almost vegetarian. They barely ever have meat anymore.
Cool.
And they don't want to. And my little sister, who's 7, she runs around the house now going, I'm vegan. And it's so cute. I could try to get her to do that now, but
corrupting the youth.
But, yeah, your podcast has helped me so much, because otherwise I'd still probably be eating chicken and stuff and be feeling all bad about it. But thanks to your podcast, I've stayed strong and made myself some lentils or something. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling, but yeah, thanks so much, Bob and Jenna, and yeah, thanks. Bye.
You can ramble for as long as you want if you're complimenting us.
Hey, this is Peggy again. I just left a message, but I decided I wanted to talk about more stuff. I kind of mentioned that my birthday was 2 weeks ago, so it was on the 13th, but I just had my party this Friday, and it was so amazing how much my friends have grown to accept my veganism. Partially thanks to the tips I've read in your book, because try not to be too hardcore about it, like, when I talk to them. And so, yeah, like, I made some crackers, the ones from, like, the flaxseed crackers from How It All Began, and they loved them, and I just felt so happy. They were like, oh, these are so good. Are they vegan? I'm like, yep. They're like, oh, really? Can I have the recipe? So I sent them all the recipe, and, yeah, it was great. And, like, I made the apple pie from How It All Began again, the same one, and, yeah, and my family loves it. Like, it's gone. And I don't know, I'm just going to ramble on some more about how food is such, like, an important element of, like, getting other people to, like, understand how veganism is, it's not normal. It's, like, it's not normal because normal is eating meat. But how veganism is, like, cool and it's acceptable. Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, I just rambled again. And anyways, thanks again for your podcast, and keep up the great work. Bye.
Peggy, thank you so much for that voicemail.
That's awesome.
First, I want to congratulate you for standing strong.
Yes.
That's hard to do when you're living under someone else's roof. It's hard to do that when they're kind of giving you shit about where you're at. Mm-hmm. And you should be very much congratulated for that.
Yes, and for just standing up for what you believe in. That's great.
So many of the teenagers we are in contact with or have been in contact with us about going vegan really have it together. They know what they want, and they go after it. And I admire that so greatly.
I do, too, because I don't think, when I was her age, I don't think I could have done that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard.
It is hard. It is hard. And so I really admire that. And I'm glad that you're doing some culinary activism. You're getting involved. You're getting people to eat vegan food and getting them to see, like, okay, we don't just eat what you scrape up from the yard, you know?
Exactly. And I think that is one of the problems, that people hear, oh, vegans, and they have no concept of what vegans eat. So by showing them, hey, look, I can eat great stuff, and you're doing this and you're showing your friends and your family, and they're coming along with it. It's awesome.
Absolutely. So I want to applaud you. And, you know, I think a lot of the teenage vegans who've been in touch really have their shit together in ways that I find completely impressive. Mm-hmm. So, and we've actually got someone for Tofu Press writing a book about being a vegan teen. So, Claire. She's next on my agenda once I get Dino out of the way.
Almost there, people.
Okay. Here's another person from Alberta.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. I just wanted to thank you for your podcast. I really enjoy listening to every episode and went vegan about a year and a half ago because of it. I'm from a small town in southern Alberta, and I'm the only vegan I know, so it can get hard sometimes, and I do, frankly, feel like a freak every once in a while, but listening to your podcast just makes me feel normal again. So thank you very much for the podcast, and keep up the good work.
All right, Tristan, I'm telling you, the Alberta people got to get together.
I know.
So
we got to collect we should just collect all the voicemails and say, here, this is person from here, this person's from here. You guys got to get together, have a potluck.
Well, you should get on the forums, but if you can't get on the forums for whatever reason, or you don't like forums, send me an email and I will help coordinate this, okay? I've never been to Alberta, but I'll help coordinate it. That's what I'll do for the Alberta freaks. So thanks, Tristan. And I'm glad that we could help you go vegan, you know?
Yeah, and yeah, you're going to feel like a freak sometime, but that's normal.
It is normal. And, you know, it actually gets easier after a while, I think. Okay, this voicemail is about like 9 minutes long. So, you know, it's a little long. I'm just letting everybody know. This is from Denise from Brooklyn.
Hi, Jenna and Bob. This is Denise from Brooklyn. I want to say hi to you both and to all my fellow freaky vegans out there. Really want to thank you guys for Vegan Freak Radio. It's just, you know, totally groovy. What you're doing is just something that's so needed to really help, you know, increase a vegan community and the strength of the vegan community, because that's, you know, you want to make a revolution happen, you do need to have people banding together and really standing firm on their common ground, and that's what you guys are doing, so most excellent there. Yeah, I've been vegan since January, and that's been going so much easier than I ever imagined, and a lot of it is thanks to you guys for the great advice that you've been giving through Vegan Freak Radio and in your book, and, you know, things I've picked up in some really great vegan cookbooks. And, you know, I had always been like this, you know, cheese-eating sort of person, and was really worried, like, oh, if I go vegan, am I going to miss that? But, I do not miss it at all. I mean, and it's just kind of like something kind of gross now. I mean, ew. Because when you really start to think about what you eat, you come to realize that we put a lot of junk in our mouths unconsciously all the time. When I first came out to my mom as being vegan, she was pretty, her reaction was kind of strange. At first I thought she'd be like all upset about it, but she wasn't. She had like this very typical mom reaction of like, oh, but, what am I going to cook for you now?
It's exactly what my mom said.
Because that's what moms do. They want to, feed their children. And, so then, I just said to her, well, Ma, there's lots of things. And I just, picked out, like, things that are favorite recipes of hers that were, completely acceptable under vegan guidelines. And when she realized, like, hey, there was still a lot she could make for me that wasn't really going to require her to do anything or very little in terms of modifying what she already does, then she was like, oh, well, hey, that's cool then, that's fine. And so she's been really supportive, which is nice. And I've also found it's, becoming vegan has also been an interesting way to really find out a lot more about who your real friends are, because my friends have, my real friends have all been very supportive, and some of them, have even begun to contemplate, becoming vegan themselves. Granted, I have the luxury of being in an environment where I'm surrounded by a lot of vegetarians anyway, so they're kind of already, leaning that way. So it's not such a huge leap for them to imagine why somebody would want to go vegan. But then, of course, you're also finding, who are the real assholes around you. I mean, some people just, irrationally can't respect your decision to say, no, I don't want to eat this. But, I've kind of already knew this because I've, been, like I said, I've been vegetarian for a while. And, that also included not eating fish. And there's just like all these people who just, oh, you're vegetarian. Great, I'll make you a tuna salad. And it's like, no, a fish is an animal who lives in the sea,
Oh my God,
and there's
that is totally not
really
vegan.
whacked concept that fish are not animals. I don't know, it just boggles my mind how people kind of have a very different sense of reality than I have. But one thing I definitely especially want to thank you guys for, which I think is so important for someone like myself who's a relatively new vegan, is that because, when you come out to people and say, hey, I'm vegan, I don't really want to eat that, you immediately do get a lot of questions. And people come up with some really difficult questions and expect that you're supposed to represent the entire vegan community. And, of course, that's absolutely absurd because, as we all know, vegans come in all shapes and sizes. They're individuals, have a lot of differing beliefs about things, and basically share this common desire not to be cruel motherfuckers, And, so it's kind of tough. You get thrust into that position, whether you like it or not, that to be, to represent, as we say out in Brooklyn. And, I didn't really feel as a new vegan that, I could really handle that. And it sort of like what you guys are doing with Vegan Freak Radio is you're helping a lot of new vegans access information. You're directing people to resources and, really making the debate out there, letting different people come on, talk about what their views on things are, giving information. I particularly thought that the Gary Francione interviews were really excellent. I didn't know about this guy, and now I could go and say, hey, wow, I really like a lot of what he had to say. And I could go out to a bookstore and say, hey, I want to get this guy's book. And I've been trying to read up. I think that it's really important, as a vegan to educate yourself more and more. It's we have sort of that instinctual desire. We know that exploiting animals is wrong, and so you want to take the right action and you want to be vegan, but just having that instinct is not going to fly with a lot of other people. They want justifications, they want evidence, even though they don't have the justifications or evidence of their own meat eating actions. It doesn't really matter for them, because there's kind of is this illogical thing. Well, that's nature. That's the way that it goes. So it's just really great that you're putting that access. And another thing that I'm doing, because I'm an artist, but I also teach at a high school here in Brooklyn, and they have me. I'm an art teacher, but of course, Board of Ed being as short for teachers as they are, they also have me teaching science class. And when I have the opportunity, which I take, and that is when we have to teach the kids about the food pyramid and all of that. I present them the vegan food pyramid. I give them the alternative view and say, look, kids, I'm a vegan, and this is what I'm about as far as eating, and I'm not telling you what you should and shouldn't eat, but I want you to see that there is other evidence than what you've been spoon-fed in the official Department of Education line your whole lives. And, it's kind of cool because, the kids actually get a chance to think about these things at a younger age. And, there are a lot of kids who are not down with the dairy thing and not really big meat eaters, and a lot of kids are getting turned on to the idea of going vegan and living healthier, and especially here in Brooklyn, where things like type 2 diabetes is a big issue. I think it's really important for kids to realize that veganism not only is morally and ecologically a better alternative, but it's like the health show that you guys were doing the other week, it's also a lot healthier diet. So when you want to talk about arguments for veganism and you want to talk about the natural order of things, well, the natural order of things would be to be vegan, have a vegan diet, because it seems to be what our bodies respond to best. And, I went to the doctor a couple weeks ago just for a general checkup, and the doctor said, damn, you are just so healthy. And I'm the healthiest person in my family. And, that I think is largely due to the choices I make, both health-wise, having the vegan diet, but also morally, the choices I make. So, again, thanks to all of you guys. Keep up the great work. And go vegans, right?
Thanks, Denise.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah, so many different things in there, too, to talk about. I mean, I like how she talked about how some friends are cool with it, and you really learn out who the assholes are very fast. And I think that's actually one of the recurring issues that we see on our forums, is that people get a lot of shit from their friends. And it's like, some friends will give you shit for a while and then give up. And if they don't give up, it's worth wondering who your friends really are at one level. But I also think it's cool that she's in there teaching science and then introducing kids to this other alternative, which is really vital.
It is, especially because, like she said, they only ever get spoon-fed, the line that everybody gets spoon-fed. And she's showing that, hey, by the way,
there's something else.
Something else out there in case you're interested.
That's so cool and so admirable. So thanks for that, Denise, and congratulations on going vegan. And we're glad you're healthy and glad you're out there spreading the good word for veganism.
Yep.
So cool stuff. And let's move on. Yeah, you have anything else you want to say about Denise?
No, one more thing, actually. I think we're always talking about how, vegans, and she mentioned this too in her voicemail, that need to be good role models. And I think she's an amazingly positive role model for what veganism is. And I think she's doing a great job. That's all I wanted to say.
I completely agree with you. 100%. All right. This one's from Ken.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. This is Ken from Maine, over here in the northern part of the country with you guys. And just wanted to say, I listened to that thing on Google or YouTube about Ira Glass before I heard your show. And it was really interesting because I had exactly the same responses and reactions to what you guys were saying. It was like, on the one hand, sure, he's coming out with the fact that he became a vegetarian, and that's good. But my God, the people laughing at chicken activists and stuff like that. I mean, Karen Davis is a real sweetheart. And I had a pet chicken, a rescue chicken, and people just don't understand. But it's really cool to have you guys out there, and you feel like I feel like you're my friends, and there's nobody to talk to here. I mean, I don't know any vegans and stuff, so keep on keeping on. Thanks.
Thanks, Ken. It's interesting to hear all the different reactions to that. I mean, on the forum, some people say exactly they see it as almost unidimensionally good and kind of clever because he got people to think about it and delivered that kind of boom at the end, that kind of gut punch. But I think a lot more people felt kind of ambivalent, like you did, Ken, and like we did.
Yeah, like what the hell? It was like almost making fun of it, and it was. I think it annoyed a lot of people.
Yeah, but I'm glad you find the show useful, Ken, and that you enjoy it, and we are all friends.
We are. We gotta make, there's a lot of vegans out there in the world, and we just gotta find each other, unfortunately, through the internet.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the great things about the internet, actually, is that it allows us to have a voice and to kind of get together and talk about these things in a way that we couldn't have done even 5 years ago. So
yep.
I think that's cool as shit, and I'm very happy to have met so many people through having done this. So I want to meet more people. All right, and this one is from Kai.
Hey vegan freaks, it's DJ McBastard, also known as Kai, everyone's favorite rampant homosexual from DC. I just want to say a quick little bit about the new theme song. I'm sorry to all the punk rock kids into grindcore who probably were screaming until their tonsils fell out and
like
they
Mike
tattooed "Kill Me" on their forehead. That theme song was probably torturous for them. I do apologize. I was going for video game meets Electro Clash meets something fucking stupid and horrible, and I think I got that. I ran out and bought a microphone just to leave this voicemail because Bob and Jenna are like,
"There's a damn internet transfer voicemail and the sound quality's so much better."
But it is.
It is.
Doesn't that sound better?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, it sounds better than yeah, it does.
Oh, I went out and did that. That's how much love I have.
Well, thank you.
Anyways, my next comment is about asshole foods. I will admit I was totally addicted to them, even when I went vegan and before. And I was like, but they played The Clash as I shop for produce. But thanks to listening to the show, I now realize they rim dirty camel assholes for their policies on happy fucking meat.
You get hepatitis doing that, couldn't you?
And I went out and found a co-op which actually pays a living wage because it's worker-owned. It's completely vegetarian. It's smaller, but there's actually more shit I can actually eat there. And they have amazing, just to die for vegan to-go foods. As much as possible, they carry locally grown stuff, and just about everything is organic. Unlike Asshole Foods, who over half of the stuff is conventionally grown, and they still charge prices that are equivalent to top-of-the-line organics when it's got nasty liquid death and old cigarette butts in it. I actually had to make a trip for a rare ingredient. I called a bunch of places, and no one had it except Asshole Foods. So I was like, fuck it, I'll go in, get the one thing, and feel dirty and shameful. So I snuck in covert style. I guess they were wondering why I was wearing a ski mask. Anyways, and I went to the concierge to get help. And they had a...
No, wait.
Concierge?
Do they actually call it the concierge at Whole Foods? If they do, that's hilarious. Do they really? I want to know if that's really, if he called it that, or if that's really what they call it. Someone needs to let me know.
Okay.
We don't have a Whole Foods near here, and even when we're near them, I'm like a vampire near garlic, where's the button here?
A wonderful button that said "sausage with a smile" with a great link of death.
Happy
put
me.
as a happy face to make it all okay. One term that definitely needs incorporated into Vegan Freak is omnivore. It especially works well for those foodies who think rare left-handed sheep bladders that have been processed in dog urine from Norway or a rare delicacy, because these people just have to fucking try everything. The other one is arse tart. It's pretty much self-explanatory. Not directly vegan, but isn't it fun to say? Repeat with me, class. Arse tart. I just want to reiterate in closing that theme song is not general of electronica, especially breakbeats. You should like breakbeats. Breakbeats are good. And don't shop at Asshole Foods because that's just fucking stupid. So, if you don't like breakbeats and if you like Asshole Foods, I'm going to send a bunch of gay tranny ninjas to your house and they will cut a bitch. They really will. So I would watch out for a bunch of uppity homos in pink jumpsuits if I were you. Thanks, Bob, Jenna. Bye.
All right, Kai. I have to apologize. This thing came across in like 9 files or 8 files, and I think I forgot to put one in.
You forgot to put the funniest one in.
What was the funniest one?
About the only happy sausage that he wants to see.
Oh, shit.
You have to find it.
All right, hold on. I'll play that I'll play that. Hold on. Let's see. You should be talking to fill some airtime.
Okay. That's the problem right now.
Let's see. Is this it?
The only kind of happy sausage I want to see is in the back alley behind a gay bar after I've had about 8 Heinekens. Then again, I am a classy hooker. I've always said, if you got a buffalo nickel, you got an hour of my time. Anyways, my last part is I want to share some new terms that need to be spread that I created while chatting with the lovely people in the forum.
See, I fucked that. My apologies. I ruined the joke.
Excuse me. It was funny, though.
I suck. Well, anyway, I apologize.
Wow. I have no idea why that file came across so weird.
I don't know either. It came across in a bunch of pieces. So, yeah, but Kai, a lot of good points in there. Whatever. So, Whole Foods. Yeah. Oh, poor Jenna's having an attack.
Sorry.
Are
My
you
throat
all right?
just got really irritated there for a second.
Uh-oh. Well, maybe we should get moving through the show here.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay. It's all good. This one's from Bryce.
Damn. Hello, my chingo. Thought I'd just stop by and check you out. You're pretty easy to use over here. All I did was stop by your webpage, press record, and you're listening to every word coming out of my mouth right through that microphone on my laptop. That's pretty sweet. Gotta say, I heard you can make my voice sound awesome. I hope this is true. I hope I sound awesome. It's pretty hard to make me sound not awesome, but I tell you, once I left a voicemail on a cell phone, that's not the way to do it. Not the way to do it. Left me sounding all staticky and distant and quiet. Wasn't good. Wasn't good at all. Nope. Gotta tell you, a little secret about the cell phone. I'm gonna say it's art vegan. That's right. If you're not in with our cool cupcake hipster lingo, it's short for not vegan. But you, however, are totally vegan, and waiting to hear from me 24 hours a day, and I sound good. And that's what matters. That's what really matters. All the freakies out there can hear me, sounding awesome. That's about it, you know. I think I'm going to abuse your 24-hour service here. Just stopping by for now. I'll be back later. Adios.
All right, you all need to abuse our 24-hour My Chingo service. As you can hear, they usually sound better.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you can call our voicemail line too. It's 267-295-1944. And I think, unless I'm missing anything, that gets us through a lot of the voicemail.
Excellent.
267-295-1944. Write the number down on your refrigerator door. Add the 001 country code if you call us from Vienna. That's how you leave a voicemail for good old Bob and Jenna.
All right. And I think that's Vegan Freak Radio for this week.
Yep. I can't believe we got through the entire show and didn't make fun of the fact that this is show 69.
I kind of did at the beginning. I started to chuckle about it being show 69. But I don't know. Do I have a Beavis sound effect? No, I think I do.
No, it didn't make it to the new soundboard.
We could put this in here.
Just because he doesn't eat it doesn't mean he doesn't beat it.
There you
There
go.
we go. See, if we had been like up on things, we could have gotten our sex show together for show 69. It would have been appropriate.
It would have been totally
It didn't even
appropriate.
occur to us until today that we were doing show 69. So
No, it didn't. And we sat down to the show, and I was like, oh, this should be our sex show. I'm like, now you decide.
I don't know.
We could have well, the thing is, it takes us, when we do shows with interviews, it takes us like 2 or 3 weeks in advance
does.
to get all that sorted out. So, and we are notoriously bad at staying in touch with people. So
yeah.
yeah. Well, anyway, Oh, man. I think we're done.
I think so.
Okay. So that is Vegan Freak Radio number 69 for the 3rd of May, 2007. Please be in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. Show at veganfreakradio.com. Call our voicemail line at 267-295-1944. But that should already be on your refrigerator door. You can come over to our, what is it called? Webpage.
Yes, one of those things.
One of those things, a webpage over at, sorry, I did some writing today and I wrote like 5 pages today and my brain's kind of like shit, whatever. Veganfreakradio.com.
Yes, and you can visit us on the forums as well to comment on the show.
Yeah, you don't even have to register to comment on the show, but you're welcome to register because registration's open now.
Yep. And as always, thank you so much for listening.
We do appreciate it, and we're happy to hear from you. And I don't know, go vegan, stay vegan. If you're not vegan, you should be vegan.
Yes.
And I don't know, hang in there. Have a good spring, or if you're down under, whatever the opposite of spring is.
Fall. I would imagine this is what that would be.
All right, everybody, take it easy.
Bye.